Has Khan even acknowledged that Peterson fought a great fight? I mean, Khan fought a great fight, withstanding his limited abilities of having no inside fight game. They both fought a really good fight, you know? And as gifted as Khan is with that speed, as gifted as Victor Ortiz is with his power, and he's quite fast, you just know that if the fight's not going their way, they're going to lose. They're not going to adapt their strategies mid-fight and be equally effective. No way. It's not going to happen. Like, I know you're probably thinking, yeah, well, Ortiz came through the knockdowns with Berto. But like I say, Berto wasn't setting traps. Victor was staying too long in the pocket because he was getting so much success. And that's why he got caught with them shots. And yeah, he done well to get up from them knockdowns. But if he's fighting a tactician, he won't be able to match wits and prevail. Very unlikely. Watching Sergio Martinez's last defense against Darren Barker from the UK. And yeah, I spotted a glaring weakness. An amateurish weakness for someone that they're saying is the third or second or first ranked pound-for-pound fighter. For one, the glaring weakness that I picked out is he overfeints with the jab. Sort of like Klitschko, only the difference is he doesn't have a 4-inch advantage over most of his opponents. Also, a lot of Sergio's upper body movement isn't really needed. I think it may be because he's amped up because it's a fight, but it seems just like nervous energy more than actual any tactical nous to avoid punches or to get his own punches off. That's how I call that one. And I have to worry about some of the trainers of the contenders of these fighters sending their guys to fight for world title fights. You'd think, well, if they see a technical flaw like that, if they do see it, you think you'd say, well, if he's going to go punch, that's 3 feints before the jab comes in. You have to develop your own rhythm. Stop being mesmerized by his status, his pound-for-pound status. Before he goes you go punch. Don't let it get to the third. You know, don't let it get to the third. Surprisingly, Darren Barker saw this and he did that. I was really impressed. You know what I mean? His lack of experience let him down in the end. If Sergio was fighting Felix Trinidad, he'd find himself in hellified trouble. Because Felix is an expert at gauging when you're going to punch, so he knows when to throw his. Ask Pernell Whitaker. Whitaker was forced to fight an aggressive fight against Felix because Felix has maybe the greatest range of punches I've seen of any fighter in the last 20 years or so. Maybe. And I know this is going to sound weird, but defense can actually intimidate the opponent, sometimes more than offense. Because if you're fighting someone like Whitaker or Benitez or Mayweather, how about Jack Johnson, and you miss them big shots, it takes a lot of confidence out of you because you're getting outmaneuvered. And most fighters who learn the fundamentals of boxing, they can make opponents miss. But the exceptional ones make you miss, and they make you pay. You don't want to throw power shots no more, because in order to do that, you're going to have to telegraph the punches. That's why fighters like Hagler, they wouldn't always throw big bombs. They'd throw light combinations. And you're probably thinking you can cope with that. But as soon as he finds a range, he's going to up the power level and take you out. The biggest misconception about Marvin Hagler is him being remembered for the Hearns fight, where he outslugged him in the 3-round bout. The first round is one of the most memorable in boxing history, period. He's remembered for the slugging match against John Mugabe, knocking out Caveman Lee in a round, taking out Tony Simpson in 6. The Durant fight, they don't talk about because it's quite a bore fest. But Hagler came up as a slick boxer. If you go and watch some of the early fights, he's a slick boxer, and he had to be because he was fighting guys like Willie Monroe and Cyclone Hart, Benny Briscoe, and them guys, and Philly fighters, man. And if you think you can go in there and slug it with them and come out with your brain cells, think again, my friend. So he learned how to box up on his toes, lateral movement using the ring. And all of that, believe it or not, it's true. The turning point for Marvin came was after his first title challenge at middleweight, when he fought the Italian Antuofermo, and it was declared a draw when most people thought Hagler did enough to win. And I think his attitude after that was seek and destroy. I'm gonna let my fists be the judges. That's how it went down. Now, before I finish this video, I need to phrase this right. Riddick Bowe is not the greatest heavyweight ever, but he's my favorite to watch. He's definitely my favorite to watch. Riddick never poured with a jab. He slammed that motherfucker in your face like a door. Bam! You know what I mean? And Riddick always went for the KO, man. He always went for the KO. He always went to tear your head off. But not with no wild punches. You know, he was just precise. And he didn't use no holy foot movement around the ring to avoid shots. Just nice economical steps, lateral movement, head movement, hand speed, bravery. Riddick could do things like hook off the jab, which not many fighters can do today. You know, when it's one of them lost skills. And you need to see when he knocked out George Gonzalez, when he first outpointed Evander Holyfield for the title and floored him. Riddick's problem was the fridge. In the second fight with Holyfield, he came in fat. He lost out on points. By the third fight, which he won by KO, and he showed a lot of grit to do so because he had to come off the floor. You could see the deterioration by then. And by the Galata fights, it was a wrap, really, by that time. But other good fights, Tiro Big versus Bowe. Tiro really went for it, but he got knocked out in about 8. It was a thriller. The Riddick Bowe against Tony Tubbs was one of them heavyweight chess matches. It was a weird fight, you know, just too much skill. There's so much skill. You couldn't figure out each other's style as such. I have to watch that again to see who really won. See, Tony Tubbs is another fighter. He's remembered for getting knocked out in 2 by Tyson in Tokyo, but TNT knew how to fight, man. He had a good defense. He was quite mobile and very fast hands for a guy with his girth around his stomach. And he had good ring generalship. He won the title back in the 80s. He didn't keep it very long, but he beat the likes of Greg Page. He beat Bone Crusher Smith. But back to Riddick Bowe, if you was to make a heavyweight, a prototype, Bowe would have most of the qualities that you need to build that heavyweight. Riddick was good at long range, and he was an excellent inside fighter. Body shots, come up to the head, he could do it all. Like, Lennox Lewis was very good, but he was cautious. Like, you might see Lennox's coach, like Emmanuel Stewart, come on, man, knock him out, man, the guy's half dead, come on, go on and knock him. Riddick didn't need that. Riddick didn't need that. And he had defensive sensibilities. Don't get me wrong, he wasn't one of them men who fight with his face. You know what I mean? Riddick had defensive sensibilities. But he just fought like a heavyweight was supposed to fight like. Like, Ali was the greatest. He had exceptional speed. But heavyweights, historically, you look at a heavyweight as a man who, big power, knocks out his man. Good jab, bang, not no pouring flick jab. You know, Foreman jab, Liston jab, Joe Louis jab. That's what kind of heavyweight I'm talking about. Sometimes I still think how good Aikai Kabushi, if I pronounce that right, how good he would have been. What would a fight between him and Bowe, or him and Holyfield, or him and Lennox Lewis, or him and Tyson, you know what I mean? What would that have brought about? Who knows? Who knows? I could talk about that shit all day. If that was financially or socially responsible or possible. So I'm not going to do that. But weekend time, I'm going to be on the computer quite a bit. So hopefully I'm going to drop another 2 videos. But for now, this is Bucks and Beats and Rhymes saying peace out.